Alright, so let's look at make peace with anxiety as a discussion for now. Again, it seems very funny. Make peace with anxiety, which is something I just don't want. I dread anxiety. Before anything, maybe it's important to try and figure out what is this anxiety. Anxiety, typically, we may say it is fear of the future, fear of some outcome in the future, something that I just don't know as of today. It's uncertain. So, uncertainty makes for some anxiety. Now, let's look at equal reality. The typical scene for us is I am very anxious about my exam, which is coming the 10th day from now. And the whole of me seems to be now filled with that anxiety. And I start to probably believe that I am anxious. I repeat, I am anxious, full, the total of me. What's the equal reality? So let's project into 10 days from now and look at 10 days from now. Maybe I have that physics exam 10th day from now, and that's why I'm anxious. Same 10th day from now, can we make a list of 10 things about which we are not anxious? Okay, let's take some examples. 10th day from now, maybe am I anxious about having a bath? Am I anxious to meet a dear friend of mine? Am I anxious to go for a movie after that exam? Let's say it's the last day of my exam. Am I anxious for that? No, I find that all of those I am not anxious. So there are probably like this, we can go on listing and we can really discover for ourselves that on that very 10th day which I said I am very anxious. 10 days from now is my physics exam. I am very anxious. I suddenly realize that whole day is not about anxiety, but one part of that day is what I feel anxious about. This is probably one discovery. The other, and if we try to look at it more closely, physics as a subject may not be something I'm anxious about. If I break it down, I might realize that there are 2 chapters of physics which somehow I've just not been able to overcome. I'm anxious probably about those 2 chapters of physics for the 10th day. Can we see now that this huge anxiety animal, which I thought was everything about me, is now actually a small fragment, a small speck in that big day, that 10th day. So indeed, when we start opening it up like this, we may discover many facets that we are really not anxious about. We may find that only one chapter I have a real problem and all the rest I am comfortable. Indeed, for that matter, on the 10th day, let's assume I had an exam on the subject I liked. And let's say those are areas of comfort and those subjects I like. So that 10th day is not something I'll be anxious about at all. So I suddenly start to realize more and more that anxiety is not me. I just have anxiety for one chapter of one subject. Period. That's it. Now there's an interesting thing to think about. Why are we anxious actually? Now let's take this very subject, that 10th day, whatever. We might discover we are anxious because of a slight under preparation or lack of confidence in one chapter or one part of that whole portion or syllabus. But what's the equal reality? We are confident and comfortable about so many other parts of that very subject. We are so well prepared on many other fronts. It's only this little thing that I'm not comfortable. What if I start to now spend a little more time in that understanding that that anxiety is coming from that little under preparation, but if I shift the focus onto that superb preparation on all other fronts, will I feel that same anxiety? But yeah, you and I haven't created this anxiety overnight. I was reading the other day that it is in the evolution of mankind itself. That when we saw these large animals, we typically had three options. We either freeze, or we fight, or we flight, run away. And that's how we typically responded to anxiety, because we never really stood up and tried to look at it and understand it. Which is precisely what we are trying to do here, trying to rationalize and look at a bigger picture, clearer picture, and see what is this animal anxiety all about. And which is why there was this phrase used, make peace with anxiety. Again, we may wonder, how can I make peace with anxiety? Let's reflect on a few things, right? The same 10th day, we keep talking about the 10th day, so let's look at that 10th day. I had a commerce exam, and which is something I was worried about, having fear, afraid, whatever, anxious, any word. That same evening, I was scheduled to have a football match, which I love. Now, I want to win that match. Typically, will I be anxious a little bit? Certainly, most certainly. Some butterflies. I want to win that match, so I want to make sure that I am well prepared. But here in this case, take a look. That same 10th day for the football match, what would I do? I would strategize. I would sit and plan. In spite of all other studies, I'll find out some little time here and there. Hey, what can I do? How do I outsmart that team? So maybe I have a quick chat here with my friends and try to figure out some method. Maybe I have a coach who helps me as well. So that same anxiety, it now becomes my motivation. It excites me, it powers me, it makes me to outperform myself. So make peace with anxiety is just to get a different perspective of anxiety, that anxiety by itself is not a huge challenge. The way I see it is probably the challenge. And lastly, let's also understand this, that if today I am looking at the 10th day, my exam coming up on the 10th day, if I'm all anxious, I tighten up, I have fear. With that, I take my book. How well can I concentrate? Can I perform well? Very unlikely, isn't it? Because we are very stressed right now. So, what are we doing really? That anxiety, that tension of the 10th day, I have brought it to today. I have lost the battle here. And here is the mystery. Here is the funny thing. And I'm sure you and I have witnessed this. On the 10th day, that exam might turn out to be a cakewalk. Oh, and then I look at that end of the 10th day. For this, I worried that day. I spent so much of time fretting and fuming. यार ये तो निकला बहुत आसान था. It was so easy. Another dimension on the 10th day. Maybe we haven't fared so well, but it didn't really matter. I found some other way. I balanced it out and I go on with life. Haven't we had situations in life when we've been so anxious about a certain thing, and then on that day, that time, it just went off like a song. It was smooth. So, bringing that future into the present is like drawing the misery to the now without any purpose. Because maybe that misery didn't exist in the first place, even in the future. So, why bring it now? You see, that is making peace with anxiety. That let it be. Maybe it's just a small speck and I'll go on. It's definitely worth considering this, because Once we are a little peaceful, the way we can take this up will change. The way we approach that subject or that preparation would change. And indeed, because of that, the outcome itself might change. The 10th day may turn out to be beautiful. We would be happy to listen to you. If you would like to reach out to us, offer any suggestions or feedback, please do write to us at dcare@dikshalearning.com. Have a blessed time ahead. Hit the pause button, experience equal reality, and have a wonderful life.